You remember what happened when the shelves went empty last time? It started with toilet paper, and within days it was like a feeding frenzy. But in the next collapse, that won't be the fastest thing to disappear. Not even close. There are everyday items, common, boring, sitting in your house right now that will vanish before the panic even hits the headlines. Not because they're flashy, but because the people who've been through this before, they're going straight for them, quietly, quickly, and in bulk. By the time most folks realize what's gone, it'll be too late. So today, we're breaking down the 9 overlooked essentials that'll disappear faster than toilet paper when everything goes sideways again. But before we dive in, quick heads up. This channel shares ideas, not fear. We don't sell gear. We don't push panic. If you've got items you think people miss in emergencies, drop them in the comments so more folks can stay ahead of the curve. Let's get into it. Number 1. Shelf-stable milk alternatives. When the shelves empty out, milk is one of the first things to vanish, not because it's rare, but because it spoils fast. And that's why shelf-stable milk alternatives like powdered milk, evaporated cans, or UHT cartons become one of the most silently valuable items in a collapse. Most people don't think about milk when prepping. They stock canned food, rice, and water. But when you've got kids who drink milk every day, adults who use it for coffee, cereal, cooking, or comfort, its absence hits hard. In 2020, during the first wave of panic buying, dairy sections were wiped clean. But the real rush hit the powdered milk and shelf-stable sections. Why? Because those products don't need refrigeration and last months, sometimes years. Walmart and dollar stores carry UHT milk in small cartons, the kind that sits on a regular shelf. Powdered options, though less tasty, become essential when you have no way to store perishables. And in a blackout, when your fridge turns into a coffin for spoiled food, those shelf-stable boxes suddenly become liquid gold. In refugee camps, disaster shelters, and war-torn regions, powdered milk is standard emergency nutrition. It mixes easily with clean water and can be used for kids, elderly, or as a supplement to dry rations. After Hurricane Maria, aid workers reported that shelf-stable dairy products were among the first things locals asked for, even ahead of canned meat. What makes this stuff even more valuable is its versatility. You can mix it into soups, bake with it, stretch recipes, or even barter it cup by cup. And unlike fresh milk, it won't spoil in transport or storage. The best part? It's still cheap and ignored. Most shoppers walk past it thinking it's only for long road trips or prepper types. But when real panic sets in, it'll be gone before they finish grabbing bottled water. Number 2. Non-adhesive anti-slip shelf liner rolls. Walk through any kitchen aisle in Walmart and you'll see them rolls of soft, grippy shelf liners. Most folks grab them to make their drawers look tidy. But in a serious collapse, these things become gear-saving, injury-preventing lifesavers. Let's get real. When the grid goes down and chaos kicks in, your environment changes instantly. No power means no light. No light means no visibility. Combine that with unstable furniture, improvised setups, and stacked supplies, and suddenly, you're surrounded by slipping hazards and falling gear. That's where non-adhesive shelf liners come in. They're cheap, flexible, and don't require glue or tools. Just unroll, cut to size, and lay it down on shelves, under crates, inside bins, under dishes, or even beneath your go bag by the door. These liners instantly add grip and stability, stopping things from sliding, tipping, or crashing down. Picture your canned goods shelf after a tremor or heavy vibration. One misplaced footstep or accidental bump, and you're cleaning tomato sauce off the floor, or worse, losing precious food. Shelf liners lock gear in place, especially in makeshift shelters, RVs, or crowded bug-out zones where space is tight. During the 2017 Mexico earthquake response, first responders used cut-up shelf liner sections to pad crates, stabilize tables, and secure field equipment. In temporary kitchens, they used them under burners and utensils to prevent burn accidents. These small strips stopped big problems and no one saw them coming, but their use goes far beyond just shelving. Lay a strip inside your water jug crate to keep it from shifting in your vehicle. Wrap it around tool handles for extra grip. Pad your emergency radio base so it doesn't vibrate off a table during the night. Use it as quiet padding under metal or glass if you need to move stealthily. The material is washable, foldable, and light enough to carry anywhere. They also work in hygiene setups. In no-power situations, lining the base of your DIY sink or toilet bucket area with these can stop sliding, dripping, and accidents. It's a cleaner, safer setup when nothing around you is stable. Number 3. Propane tank refill adapters. The one tool that turns out of gas into still in the game. When panic buying hits and people start scrambling for fuel, the big tanks, the 20-pounders, disappear first, then the camp stoves. Then the little green 1-pound propane bottles vanish. Fast. But what most folks don't realize, the people who keep cooking, heating, and surviving long after shelves go empty are the ones who grabbed a propane refill adapter. This tiny brass fitting, usually sitting unnoticed in the camping section at Walmart, lets you refill small 1-pound propane bottles from your standard 20-pound grill tank. And in a real collapse, that means you're multiplying your fuel supply without needing stores, shipments, or standing in ration lines. Here's how it works. Screw the adapter onto your large propane tank, flip it upside down, and connect the small bottle. Gravity and pressure do the rest. Within minutes, you've refueled a bottle that can power your portable stove, heater, or lantern, critical tools when electricity's gone. During the Texas freeze of 2021, when power failed and temperatures dropped below zero, preppers who had refill adapters kept cooking and heating with confidence. Others? They were burning furniture or waiting in gas station lines that wrapped around blocks. The real beauty of this tool? It's reusable. One $10, $15 adapter can refill dozens of bottles over time. No batteries, no electronics, no maintenance, just smart planning. And let's talk trade value. Once panic sets in and fuel runs dry, that little brass fitting becomes pure gold in barter circles. People will trade food, meds, or gear just for the ability to refill a bottle and boil water, but they won't last on shelves. In every major blackout, storm, or fuel shortage, these adapters are some of the first to go because the people who know act early. Number 4. Basic grooming tools. When hygiene collapses, small tools stop big problems. In the middle of a crisis, with food running low and power cut off, trimming your nails might seem like the last thing you'd care about. But once the dust settles and the grind sets in dirty, overgrown nails, painful hangnails, or infected splinters, turn from small annoyances into real survival risks. And that's where basic grooming tools, nail clippers, tweezers, compact scissors step into their true role. They're not luxury items, they're medical gear in disguise. In collapse zones, long-term shelters, and refugee camps, personal grooming isn't about looking clean, it's about staying healthy without access to doctors. Clip a nail too late, and it tears. That leads to bleeding, infection, and if you're in unsanitary conditions, you're suddenly in real danger. Same with splinters. Without tweezers, small debris stays embedded, swells, and spreads infection. These tools are light, durable, silent, and absolutely essential when soap and first aid are in short supply. You won't think about them until you desperately need them. During the Haiti earthquake response, mobile medical teams noted a sharp spike in hand and foot infections, often caused by basic grooming neglect. The Red Cross even added nail clippers and tweezers to emergency hygiene kits distributed to displaced families. That's how serious it gets. Let's talk practicality. A good set of clippers lasts for years. Tweezers help with ticks, thorns, even pulling melted plastic from skin in minor burns. Small scissors can trim bandages, snip duct tape, or manage hair if it starts to tangle or mat, especially in kids and the elderly. And in terms of barter, a sealed grooming kit, even a dollar store set, becomes high value in group shelters or barter hubs. Clean tools equals health. And in a world without urgent care, that's worth more than canned soup. Most people won't grab these until it's too late. But you pack one extra set, quietly, ahead of the crowd. Because in a world where everything feels out of control, sometimes it's the smallest tool that keeps you from falling apart. Number 5, immune supplements. When the real battle starts inside your body, in a full-blown collapse, the biggest threat won't always come from outside, it'll come from inside your immune system. Stress, exposure, lack of fresh food, poor sleep, and dirty water all slam your body at once. And when your defenses drop, illness moves in fast. That's why immune supplements, especially vitamin C, D3, zinc, and elderberry, become silent survival gear. They don't look tactical. They're not flashy. But when medical help is weeks away and nutrition is inconsistent, they might be the only thing standing between you and serious sickness. Here's what most people miss. In a crisis, your immune system is working overtime. You're cold. You're eating shelf, stable food. You're drinking from backup sources. You're sleeping less. Every one of those factors suppresses immune response, especially in kids, elderly people, and anyone with pre-existing conditions. Now consider this. During the 2020 pandemic, Walmart, CVS, and Amazon all ran out of immune boosters within 48 hours of the first national emergency announcement. People weren't just panic buying soap and toilet paper. They were trying to armor up their bodies, and the shelves reflected that. Vitamin C helps with recovery and inflammation. D3 supports immunity and mood critical in long, dark blackout conditions. Zinc reduces severity and duration of infections. Elderberry has been used for centuries to fight upper respiratory viruses. Individually, they're small, cheap, and ignored. But bundled together in a bottle? That's barter material, family protection, and medical support in one move. They also store extremely well. Most capsules and tablets have multi-year shelf lives, take up no space, and don't require refrigeration. You can stash 6 months of immune support in a Ziploc bag in your bug-out bin and forget about it until it becomes the most important thing you packed. In shelters or group survival situations, the first person to get sick often spreads it to everyone. If you're the only one with immune boosters? Number 6. Charcoal street ardor cubes. Because in a blackout, fire isn't optional, it's survival. You've got the grill, the fire pit, maybe even a rocket stove or DIY heater. But when the wind's high, the wood's damp, and the temperature's dropping fast, how are you going to light it? That's where charcoal starter cubes come in. They're tiny, cheap, and totally overlooked. But once the power's gone and your lighter runs out of juice, these small bricks of fire certainty become critical. They don't require paper, kindling, or skill. One spark even from a flint striker, and they burn hot and steady for up to 10 minutes. That's more than enough to ignite damp wood, charcoal, or a makeshift stove. In cold weather collapse zones, think Texas 2021 or the Northeast blackout of 2003, families use starter cubes to light indoor safe heaters and cook meals without wasting propane. And when others were stacking newspapers and praying, those with cubes were eating hot food and staying warm. You'll find them in the BBQ aisle at Walmart, usually ignored for lighter fluid and matchbooks. But unlike fluids, cubes don't leak, don't evaporate, and are safer for indoor setups when ventilation's limited. They store for years, take up no space, and don't smell. That's survival perfection. Want to trade something people forget to buy but desperately need once the cold hits? Trade starter cubes. One cube can mean one warm night or one cooked meal. Because in a collapse, nobody has time to figure out fire. You either light it, or you freeze with your gear sitting useless beside you. Number 7. Water filter street raw. When the taps run dry, this straw becomes everything. Most people assume they'll just boil water if things go bad. But what if you're not home? What if the gas is gone? What if you need clean water right now? No fire, no fuel, no time? That's when a personal water filter straw becomes your lifeline. It's lightweight, it fits in your palm. And in a crisis, it turns filthy river water, pond runoff, or even a gutter puddle into drinkable backup on the spot. You don't need a backpack full of gear. You don't need to measure bleach. You just uncap it, sip, and survive. These straws were originally designed for humanitarian relief in flood and war zones. When FEMA teams deploy after hurricanes or earthquakes, they bring these first. Why? Because clean water disappears in hours, and boiling isn't always possible. During the 2010 Haiti crisis, waterborne disease spread faster than food shortages. Relief workers distributed filter straws across camps, and infection rates dropped overnight. Walmart stocks them in the camping section, and when panic hits, they're one of the first things gone. Because anyone who's been through a boil advisory or flood contamination knows, without clean water, everything else collapses. One straw can filter hundreds of gallons. It doesn't need batteries, doesn't leak, and weighs less than your phone. Whether you're bugging out or stuck at home with broken pipes, it gives you portable, silent, life-saving hydration. It's not just about staying hydrated, it's about avoiding a trip to the ER when there is no ER. Because you can go 3 weeks without food, but without water, you've got 3 days. And in a collapse, the clock starts ticking fast. Number 8. Reusable gel ice packs. Cooling without power isn't a luxury, it's survival. When the power's out and the temperature's climbing, Food isn't the only thing at risk. Injuries swell, medicines spoil, people overheat. And that's when reusable gel ice packs step out of the first aid drawer and into real crisis mode. These packs aren't just for sore muscles, they're for keeping things stable when nothing else is. Pop them in a freezer while the grid's still up, and once it's gone, they buy you hours of critical time. Whether you're trying to preserve insulin, cool down perishable baby food, or prevent heat exhaustion in a sweltering room, these silent, reusable packs become lifesavers. They're clean, quiet, lightweight, and unlike frozen water bottles or bags of ice, they don't leak or make a mess. During the Texas grid collapse in 2021, people used them to rotate through coolers, keep food stable, and treat overheated kids and seniors without needing power, noise, or open flames. Plus, they're reusable. Freeze, use, refreeze, again and again. No waste, no fuel, no noise. Just simple, passive cold. They also scale well in barter situations. In shelters or group settings, someone with a gel pack can trade a cool compress for food, meds, or favors, because in that moment, cooling is comfort, and comfort becomes currency. Walmart sells them cheap, but they vanish fast in weather emergencies. Most people grab water, food, and candles. Smart ones grab cold. Because when everything heats up, the one who can bring the temperature down wins. Number 9. Rubber gloves. Your hands are your most valuable tool. Protect them. In a collapse scenario, basic hygiene turns into battlefield survival. Trash piles up. Water access drops. Infections spread faster than food. And suddenly, those cheap rubber gloves you barely noticed, they become vital armor. Whether you're handling spoiled food, emptying waste buckets, or treating a wound, your bare hands shouldn't be exposed. One small cut, one contact with sewage or bacteria-laced surfaces, and you're dealing with an infection that has no backup medical system to fix it. FEMA guidelines consistently list gloves in their emergency kits. During the COVID-19 outbreak, they were among the first supplies to vanish from shelves, not just in hospitals but homes. Heavy-duty gloves handle debris, cleanup, and harsh chemicals like bleach, which becomes your best friend in disinfection. Disposable gloves give you sanitary layers for food, prep, wound care, or interacting with sick family members. They're light, cheap, and ridiculously easy to store. But when crisis hits, they vanish faster than soap. Tuck away a few packs. Because in a world where every surface is suspect, touching the wrong thing without protection can take you out. So now you've seen it, not just the obvious gear, but the quiet essentials, the things no one talks about until they're already gone. You don't need to panic. You don't need to go broke. But you do need to be ahead, because the next wave of empty shelves won't give you a second chance. And while others are caught scrambling for toilet paper again, you'll have the things they didn't even know they'd need. That's the edge. That's the mindset. And if that's what you're about, then this is your channel. Hit that subscribe button, not for entertainment, but because every single video here is built to give you a smarter plan, clearer insight, and a real-world advantage when things start breaking down. Drop a like if you're already ahead of the curve. Share this with someone who still thinks they'll figure it out later, because later might be too late.